It's 6:48. Welcome back to Montana this morning. We have a few clouds overhead, but don't let them fool you. Sounds like it's shaping up to be a pretty hot day. Air conditioning, water, that's my future. Those are my plans for the day. Let's go ahead and get started with today's news. Our top story this Tuesday, what started as a potentially dangerous situation at the City of Billings wastewater plant is now safe again. Billings Police and Fire, along with Yellowstone County Sheriff's Department and DES, responded to the plant shortly after 1:30 this morning. A methane holding tank at the plant started on fire. Main Street and Bench Boulevard in the Heights were closed off while a fire crew assessed the situation. They were able to safely extinguish the flames and the streets were reopened. The cause of the fire is under investigation. The entire situation lasted about 3 hours. Checking in now on the day's top national headlines, the remaining members of a youth soccer team that were trapped in a Thailand cave have been rescued. The final boy and coach were brought out of the cave just over an hour ago. Rescue crews brought out 4 boys and the coach today, 4 boys yesterday, and the first 4 were rescued on Sunday. They got trapped in the cave by heavy rain when they entered 17 days ago. President Trump's Supreme Court nominee is federal judge Brett Kavanaugh. The president announced the pick last night in a nationally televised event at the White House. The 53-year-old Kavanaugh would replace retiring Justice Anthony Kennedy. His nomination was met with protest outside the Supreme Court. And a federal judge in California has said no to the Justice Department's bid to keep migrant families detained together. The judge said she saw no reason to undo the rules that limit how long children can be held in detention. She called the Trump administration's request a cynical attempt to get around a long-standing court order. Closer to home, a wildfire is burning 47,000 acres in northern Wyoming. That lightning-caused fire sparked Sunday night south of Gray Bull and has grown from 10,000 to 47,000 acres in size. The fire is burning in Bighorn and Washakie counties near Manderson, Wyoming. Continuing our coverage, the 5-month-old baby who was abandoned Saturday in a remote area near Lolo Hot Springs remains in good condition at a Missoula hospital. The Missoula County Sheriff's Office says the boy survived the ordeal with only minor scrapes and bruises after spending 9 hours in the wilderness. The child has been placed in the custody of Montana Child and Family Services as the investigation continues. The suspect, 32-year-old Francis Crowley, is jailed in Missoula County on charges of criminal endangerment. Officials say he will likely face additional charges when he appears in court today. We now know the name of the young girl who died after being involved in a crash near Hardin. Bighorn County Coroner Terry Bullis says 5-year-old Faith Deputy of Hardin was a passenger in a vehicle that crashed into a horse. It happened on the I-90 frontage road southeast of Hardin on Friday afternoon. The girl passed away Saturday evening. Bullis tells us a rumor that the girl was riding the horse at the time of the crash is not true. A Texas teenager is dead after a weekend ATV crash in Park County, Wyoming. 14-year-old Maximilian Finney of Woodland, Texas, was killed after the ATV he was riding tipped over and landed on top of him. Authorities say the teen's father owns 2 cabins in Crandall and has sent his son from one cabin to the other to let family members know dinner was ready. About 30 minutes later, a passerby found Finney pinned underneath the ATV. The release states Finney was driving too fast when the ATV started to slide off the side of the road and tipped. Finney was not wearing a helmet. Montana Senator Steve Daines is back from his trip to Russia last week, where he traveled with a delegation of fellow Republican lawmakers. He tells MTM the group delivered a very direct message to Russian officials to stay out of U.S. elections. He says the delegation met with Russian lawmakers and the Russian foreign minister. When they asked him why no Democratic lawmakers made the trip, Daines said GOP officials felt the message would carry greater political weight coming from Republicans. He said the delegation also told the Russians they must respect the sovereignty of Ukraine and do more to bring peace to war-torn Syria. Daines returned to the U.S. on July 4th, then flew back to Montana with President Trump on Air Force One last Thursday. President Trump is scheduled to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin next Monday. A state judge has ruled all Montana Green Party candidates must be removed from the November ballot. On Monday, District Judge James Reynolds of Helena said about 80 signatures of registered voters used to certify the Green Party are invalid for a number of reasons. With those names removed, the party does not have enough signatures in at least 34 state house districts. That means none of the 12 Green Party candidates can appear. Democratic Party Executive Director Nancy Keenan says the ruling strikes a blow against out-of-state Republican dark money groups that she claims help the Green Party effort. The Green Party could not be reached for comment. It has the option to appeal to the Montana Supreme Court. Well, it looks like an attempt by some Republican state lawmakers to call a special session of the Montana legislature is falling short. Those behind a special session say it's needed to undercut two ballot measures on tobacco taxes and mining regulations that have already qualified for Montana's November ballot. The vote for lawmakers to call themselves into special session needs the approval of at least 75 legislators. But as of today, 19 Republicans have already voted no. That means even if the remaining Republican lawmakers vote yes, they will need some help from Democrats, which isn't likely to happen. Democratic Governor Steve Bullock has denounced the proposed special session as absurd, and so far not a single Democratic legislator has voted for the special session. The voting by lawmakers on the proposed special session continues this week, and ballots sent to the Secretary of State.